Hello, guys. Welcome back. Good to see everybody here. Welcome back for day two of the Pro Singer Breakthrough Masterclass Accelerator. If you guys don't know me, if this is your first time joining in, if you weren't able to make it yesterday, I'm Arden. I am a professional singer, vocal coach. What I like to call myself is a transformational vocal coach. And I have been a professional singer for 25 years. I have coached lots of professional singers over the last 15 plus years. And I know what it's like to be where you are. I know what it's like to have talent and have hustled and studied a lot and still not be where you want to be in your singing career, reaching the potential of your voice and what's possible. And I'll tell you, I walked into a lot of potholes myself figuring all this out. And I've had some amazing teachers and I've had some not amazing coaching and experiences. And I have, you know, three really fancy degrees from fancy conservatories in vocal performance. And still, I had to learn all the stuff that I'm teaching you this week the hard way by decades of like piecing things together that I wish that somebody would have told me. And once I learned it, it just made all the difference in my singing career and what I was able to do. I have performed on the stage at San Francisco Opera Theater of St. Louis, Aspen Music Festival, all over Europe. And then I did a 180 in my career. And I also went into the commercial recording world and recorded two singer-songwriter albums. And, this was back in the days of Napster, you guys remember? And iTunes was just new and all of that stuff. And I've licensed a ton of my music to film and TV and commercials. My voice is in a Barbie doll, legit, like a singing Barbie doll. I've done a lot of things and I've learned a lot of amazing things the hard way. And so part of why I am doing this for you guys and why in my coaching studio, why I teach this way is because I want you guys to understand that like you don't have to walk into all the walls that I did. It doesn't have to take you a decade to get where you want to go when I can just kind of show you these things that I learned the hard way, and it doesn't have to be so hard for you guys. You can kind of get the tools and get the secrets in a way that saves you the time and the energy that I spent. So great to see so many of you guys here back for day two. If this is your first day that you're joining us, please say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from and where you live. And also make sure if this is your first day joining us, if you were not here yesterday, make sure that you watch the replay of yesterday. If you have not, it is super important stuff on the mind-body connection that you need to know. So Ash, if you wouldn't mind just grabbing the replay. Oh, she's like one step ahead of me. See, this is why Ashley's amazing. Ashley just put the link in the chat to where you guys can find the replays. So grab it, save it, copy it into a document, because if you have to come late or miss something this week, you can always watch the replay and then you won't have to miss the training. So I'm curious, who did their meditation last night? Tell me in the chat. Say meditation if you did the meditation. I want to know. I want to celebrate you, every single one of you. Billy, Aura, Alexandra, let's see, Cindy, Gloria, Rob. Oh my God, it's going too fast. You guys are amazing. Look at all of you who did it. And by the way, all of you who celebrated that you did it in the Facebook group, I am celebrating you even more because not only did you do it, but you're claiming and owning that you are honoring the change that you want to be and see. And you're celebrating it in front of your peers, which is the whole point. Okay, I'm curious who also did their meditation today. So who's 2 for 2? You did it yesterday and you did it today. Put 2 in the chat if you are 2 for 2 on your meditations. Awesome. Look at all you guys. Billy, Cindy, Ginger, Terry, Ara, Leanne. Alexa. Good. You're going to do it after this, Angela? Get on it. Do it. Okay, so you guys, the meditation, it's not like a one and done thing, okay? Doing it every day to condition this energy in the mind-body connection that allows for the kind of sound and the kind of impact that you can make once you're integrating your skill set, which is the technique that we're going to dive into today, with the mindset that we started to condition yesterday. Who did their thought exercise last night? Put in the chat, put me if you did thought exercise, if you did your thought exercise last night. Oh my God, you guys are killing it. Look at all of you who did it. Okay, if you haven't done it, do it. You can find it in your masterclass workbook on day 1, resources, homework resources, okay? So if you didn't do it, no blame and shame. Today is a new day and do it, okay? You will gain clarity. I'm curious how many of you gained some new awarenesses around what makes you feel less than. Tell me in the chat, did any of you go like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I was thinking that way? Did anybody have any experiences like that? Because I know when I've done thought exercises before, it's like, wow, is that what's going on up there? Like, okay. And again, there's no make wrong, right? It's not to judge yourself around it. It's just to be like, okay, that's some of the thinking going on. That now I can start to understand why I may be singing the way I'm singing, or why I may be acting or not acting on my own behalf in ways that maybe serve me or don't serve me. And then understanding how and where these things that you've observed live in your body. And so you're starting to understand what impact these physical sensations have on your ability to sing powerfully and access the full potential of your technique, of your talent, and of your sound. So I'm celebrating all of you who have done the thought exercises and done the meditation. It's awesome. Celebrating you for your commitment and your accountability to this process. You know, I will say that those who really get results in this process are showing up the following way. They are showing up committed. So what that means is showing up to every class or watching the replay that very night if you had to miss, and doing the homework and the practice after every session. They're showing up coachable, which means they're understanding that you don't know what you don't know. That's why you're here. So being open and willing to just empty your cup, be coachable, and do something differently, or do something you've never done before. Because if you do the same things in the same way, you're just going to keep getting the same result. And that's why a lot of you are here, because you've been doing the same thing in the same way with the same mindset, and you keep getting the same result, which is frustrating you. So showing up and being coachable, that you don't know what you don't know, and willing to do something different. And also showing up resourceful. So it may not be here. It may not be easy to be here each day this week. This is a 7-day masterclass series, right? You may have work obligations, family obligations, health stuff might come up. You might get sick, like whatever it is, right? It might not be easy to get here every day, but life is in session, and it's always going to be in session. It's always going to be in session. There's always going to be something, right? So get creative. It's just 90 minutes of your day for 1 week out of your life to get tools that can change everything for something that you really care about. So being resourceful to show up even when life is lifing, even when life is happening. Like you guys, I'm gonna tell you this, my daughter is supposed to be in sleepaway camp. It was her first summer, and we left 2 weeks ago. And guess who got a call like 5 days in, like, gotta pick her up. Like, it's too soon. She's not ready. Like, I was supposed to be somewhere else this week. Not that I wasn't supposed to do this week, but I was gonna be doing this from a different city in a different place, whatever. And I'm home. I'm back home. Life is lifing. I had to get on a plane. Like, right? So it's like being resourceful to show up to what you care about, even when life is happening, and condition that muscle of showing up for your passion, showing up for your dreams when life is lifing. That is a muscle that needs to be built, because so many of us are like, oh, you know, I'm not going to make it home, or oh, whatever, the kids or whatever. Okay. So committed, coachable, and resourceful. And I celebrate all of you for embodying those things and being here live for day 2. So I also want to let you know that we have a scholarship contest going on. So if you attend every live training this week, you will get to throw your hat in the ring to win a surprise scholarship that I'll be announcing on Saturday for our flagship intensive training program. But in order to be eligible, you have to have attended every day of the workshop live. And then at the end of the week, for those of you who threw your hat in the ring, who are interested in that, I will announce the winner live. So wanted to remind you guys of that. All right, today we're talking about some really game-changing innovations for your technique in order to up your impact. And most specifically, today we're going to be talking about innovations for understanding your breath support. And we have a lot to get to, but first, just a reminder of some housekeeping. The replay links are sent every day via email and also in the Facebook group after each session. The homework is each day you have the homework content in your Masterclass workbook. The replays, I want to make sure you know this. The replays disappear when the workshop is over on Sunday night. So if you have to miss or be late or leave early, make sure that you watch the replay as soon as possible. Watch it later in the evening. Don't put it off because they go away on Sunday night and midnight. Save your questions. We have a lot to go through, so we're going to train first and then answer questions. Jot down your questions for later. We also have a full Q&A day on Sunday. Also, volunteers, today I will be asking for some guinea pigs to sing and coach on some of the breath support techniques that we're going to get into today. So if you would like to be a volunteer to coach on some of this, use the raise hand function when that time comes. It's the little reaction at the bottom of your Zoom screen that says reactions. It's a little heart. If you click that, you will find the way to raise your hand. A reminder, this is a safe space, guys. For those who sing and coach, we encourage vulnerability and bravery. I have a zero tolerance policy for any criticism, any judgment, any throwing shade in the chat. So please uphold that value with me so that this can remain a safe space for you guys to explore, experiment, fall down, get up, and fail forward, okay? Okay, with that, who's ready for some breath support innovations to create mastery in your technique around breath support? Tell me in the chat. I need some, because we're going to talk about air. So give me some air in the chat. Who's ready for breath support? Yeah. All right, you guys. You're on it. You're on it. You're on it. All right. Let's start with this. We're going to start with, as my old Russian ballet teacher used to say, the beginning. So what is the beginning? Why is breath support so important? And I know you guys are like, well, duh, Arden, because you need breath to sing. Well, yeah, but really, why is breath support so important? Because 90% of the issues that are preventing you from accessing 100% of the potential in your voice are actually breath support issues. And 90% of the issues that make you feel insecure are also actually breath support issues. So tension and strain, breath support issue. Stamina, breath support issue. High notes, breath support issue. Agility, ad-libbing, all that kind of stuff. Breath support issue. Mixing and transitioning between registers, breath support issue. Pitch issues, intonation issues, if you're flat or if you're sharp, yes. Much of the time when we fix the breath support, the pitch issues go away. Inconsistency, breath support issue. Confidence issues. And then the career issues, if you're not putting yourself out there, breath support issues. So let's get down to the foundations, because if you're going to learn how to make a bigger impact in your singing, then we've got to address this right away. So I want to go back to the beginning and talk about some fundamentals here for a minute. And before you roll your eyes and you're like, Arden, I've already been taught breath support for years. I already know the fundamentals. Remember what we said a minute ago, that those who get the biggest breakthroughs here show up coachable, understanding that you don't know what you don't know. So empty your cup and approach this with beginner's mind, right? All right. So first, let's talk about the anatomy of support. Okay. So let's talk about the diaphragm. Where's your diaphragm? Anybody know? Anybody know where's your diaphragm? So your diaphragm is And I'm wearing this is the shirt that I love to wear when I'm teaching breath support, because you can see like all of my physiology, okay? So your diaphragm lives at the base of your rib cage, okay? And it is what separates your thorax, which is where your lungs are, from your viscus, which is where your intestines and your liver and everything else is, okay? And this dome-shaped diaphragm, it looks like a dome. It looks like a plunger, okay, like an upside-down bowl. And it is what kind of bisects these two regions, okay? So if you were to saw me in half and take my top off, you'd see right here this dome-shaped diaphragm. And when I inhale, this dome-shaped diaphragm inverts to become a bowl to make room for the expanding lungs that are filling with air, okay? And that's also why your tummy pooches out when you breathe in, because the diaphragm was up here. When you inhale, the diaphragm inverts. It pushes down on your intestines and all the organs down here. There's nowhere else for those organs to go, so it pushes your tummy out, okay? So this is where your diaphragm is, okay? And when you inhale, the dome inverts to become a bowl to make room for the lungs filling with air. And then it is the slow rise of this bowl back to the dome that pushes the air out of your lungs that then vibrates your vocal cords, either for talking or singing or whatever you're going to do with your voice. So I'm curious, how many of you have heard a voice teacher say to you, use your diaphragm? Tell me in the chat, say me in the chat. How many of you have heard, use your diaphragm? Yep, Cheryl, Jocelyn, Ginger, Donna, Alyssa, Shell, okay. Here's why I hate that. I hate it. Because we don't have a ton of nerve endings in the diaphragm. And so it's really hard to kind of feel your diaphragm. And so when you tell a singer, use your diaphragm, what a singer starts doing is trying to get all up in there to try to feel this thing that they can't really feel, and ends up just kind of sabotaging the natural function of what the diaphragm can and should be doing, and kicking you off the support that is otherwise there for you, okay? So while we can't really feel the diaphragm very effectively, what we can feel and what we can affect very efficiently are the muscles that the diaphragm tucks into. So again, like if you saw my top and you take it off, the dome-shaped diaphragm, three-dimensionally, it tucks in to all the other like abdominal muscles in your abdomen, okay? And so when we talk about breath support, what we're really talking about is the muscles that the diaphragm tucks into that have a direct effect on what happens to this diaphragm, okay? So these are the muscles that help us to control the diaphragm so that it stays low and it moves slowly, moving the exact right volume and velocity of air out the cords for the most efficient vibration and beautiful sound, okay? So when we're talking about breath support, that is concept number one for today. If you're following along in your masterclass workbook, concept number one for today is that breath support is really about the muscles around the diaphragm that support the diaphragm to stay low and move slow. Because if we don't have that, then guess what happens? You breathe in, the diaphragm inverts. If you don't have the diaphragm staying low and moving slow, then all of a sudden the diaphragm pushes up really quickly. You've pushed all the air out. You're out of breath before you want to be. The sound is airy, which you don't like. So now you try to mitigate that by grabbing in the throat, in the tongue, in the jaw to create a dam to prevent this massive flood of air that's coming out. And now you've got lots of tension. So those of you who are experiencing neck tension, tongue tension, jaw tension, 90% of the time, the tension goes away when we address the issues that are in your breath support, because the inconsistent and unsupportive breath support is why those muscles feel like they need to do their job in the first place, okay? So when we're talking about breath support, what we're talking about is the muscles that engage to keep the diaphragm low and slow so that we get the exact right velocity and volume of air that we need for the chords. Because think about it, your chords vibrate, right? Think about a flag. A flag in a gentle, steady breeze has like a gentle, steady oscillation. A flag in a hurricane, okay? Most of you have very inconsistent support, and so you get a hurricane, or sometimes you get a good oscillation and sometimes you get a hurricane because sometimes you're consistent in keeping the diaphragm low, and other times it's kind of going like this. It doesn't have any consistent support, okay? So that's concept number one for today. Breath support is about the muscles around the diaphragm, supporting the diaphragm to stay low and move slow. So I want to isolate these muscles of support for you and talk about, show you where to find them, how they feel, okay? So I want you to, first of all, stand up, and I want you, first of all, to find rectus abdominis, which is your six-pack muscles, okay? And I want you to put your hand right where your ribs part, like ladies, right at the base of like under your bra line, vertically, okay? And I want you to imagine that there's a dog making noise outside and you're gonna shush the dog, okay? And I want you to shush the dog, and I want you to tell, just like notice what you feel. Shh, shh, shh. Like you feel those muscles engaging, right? You can feel them when you shush the dog. Now, same thing here. This is transverse abdominis, low, right above the pubic bone. Shush the dog. Shh, shh, shh. And you can feel these muscles engage when you move air, okay? Same thing, side muscles, obliques, the diagonal muscles, like on an Olympic swimmer, those are the super cut muscles, you know what I'm saying? So right above your hip bone in the diagonal. Shush the dog and see what happens. Shh, shh, shh. Yeah, see what you can feel, okay? There you go, okay? Clem, I'm not talking about intercostal muscles. We're not there yet. So I don't want you to mistake what I'm saying. So this is not about, we're not talking about rib cage yet. We're talking about what's below it. Your intercostals are the muscles between the ribs, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about rectus abdominis, transverse abdominis, and obliques, okay? Okay, so obliques, shush the dog, shh, 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 and feel that those muscles are there and how they also engage, okay? Now, same thing in the lower back. So you'll feel it a little differently here, but if you find where the bottom of your ribs are and the top of your hip is, and there's the soft spot in between, put your palms right there, okay? And shush the dog, and you'll feel it back there too, okay? So these four muscle groups are the lower muscles of support, okay? And when we're talking about proper breath support, what we're talking about, that it matters the direction that you engage these muscles. So there are two ways that you can engage muscles. You can flex muscles, or you can contract muscles, okay? I'm flexing the muscles of my hand, I'm contracting the muscles of my hand. Both are an engagement of the muscles, but it goes in different ways, okay? So the thing that is like super essential is that you understand that when we're talking about the abdominal muscles for breath support, that we're talking about flexing the muscles of support, not contracting the muscles of support, okay? So if you watch me and you see my abdominals here, this is me contracting my muscles of support, which is what we don't want to do. I'm showing you the wrong way, okay? Shh, shh, shh. When I do that and I contract these muscles, what happens to my diaphragm? It gets shoved right up and it pushes way too much air out of my lungs. And remember what we said, we need just the exact right volume and velocity of air. When we contract the muscles of support, we flood, it's a hurricane, okay? And then we're not getting the exact right oscillation of the chords that's the most efficient for the most beautiful sound, okay? But if we flex the muscles of support, so now you can watch me flex, shh, shh, shh. I'm going this way. You see my muscles, like you can see it most specifically. Whoops, I don't want to disappear. You can see it most specifically on my obliques. Like if you watch me on the side, you'll see these muscles flex out. Shh, shh. You can see that going like this, okay? So when I flex the muscles of support, I'm thinking down and out. And what it does is it just moves my diaphragm just a little, so that I'm not flooding all the extra air out, okay? So the second concept for today that I really want you to get is that we feel muscles flex in the abdominal muscles of support, not contract, okay? So I want you to put your hands back on your obliques, and I want you to shush the dog, and I want you to flex. I want you to put that shush right into your hands. And you guys, it's not about what's happening here. It's not about taking your belly and pooching it out. That is not me like flexing. It's not about the middle. It's about what's happening around it, up here, on the sides, and under, okay? So do a few shushes, like you're shushing the dog, into your hand. Shh. Like you can really feel like if I'm up here on my sides, shh, shh, shh. And you can see it if you watch me. Shh, shh. Instead of shh, shh. I'm not going this way. I'm going that way. So flex into your palm and see if you can feel that. It's different because most of us are not, we just don't pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? So, but once you're cognizant of it, that is supporting your diaphragm to stay low and move slow, okay? So now, I want to pause for a second, and I want to talk about the inhale, okay? So there's two pieces to this, and a lot of people think breath support is breathing for singing, and it's not. The inhale is the breath, is the inspiration of the air, okay? Breath support, what we were just talking about, is what happens after the inhale, when you phonate, okay? So let's switch gears for a second and talk about the inhale and the anatomy of the inhale. And so Clem, now I'm gonna talk about the ribs and the intercostals, okay? When we talk about the inhale, how many of you have heard, breathe into your belly, belly breathing? Tell me in the chat, say me, who has heard belly breathing, you should be doing belly breathing? Oh, a lot of you, yeah, okay, cool. So here's why I hate that. And I understand it because, you know, voice teachers, they don't want you to tense up and breathe into your shoulders. So I get why they say that. However, it's completely misleading and it doesn't actually get you the outcome that you want. And I'll tell you why in a second. First of all, you don't have lungs in your belly. I mean, I know that sounds like duh, okay? But no lungs in your belly. Where are your lungs? Your lungs are not here, okay? So if you tell a singer, breathe into your belly, what are they gonna do? They're gonna go, now, did you see my lungs expand or my ribs expand at all? No, and I got very little air because what I was concentrating on doing was pushing my belly out and trying to push air into my belly. But ain't no lungs in your belly, okay? Where are your lungs? Your lungs are actually in your back. So if you think about your anatomy, the ribs, they stop here. Why? Because in the front, your ribs are there to protect your lungs, and your lungs stop here in the front. But your lungs go all the way down in the back. You guys have seen pictures of lungs, right? The lungs go down longer in the back than they do in the front, which is why your ribs go further down in the back than in the front. It's to protect your lungs, okay? You have more lung in the back. And so what I want you to start to think is that when you inhale, I want you to inhale into your lungs, into your back body. So one way that I really love to help you feel this is I want you to stand up and I want you to fold forward and just dangle like a rag doll, okay? And let your arms hang heavy, let your head hang heavy, maybe a gentle bend in your knees, and just dangle, okay? And as you're dangling, I want you to imagine that my hands are on your back ribs, okay? And I want you to do a nose breath and breathe into your back and feel your back expanding towards and into my hands, up towards the ceiling, and let it go. And do a couple nose breaths into your back body, feeling your back body expanding with air up towards the ceiling and into my hands, okay? You guys, this is where the air belongs because your lungs are more in your back than anywhere else. So roll up, and now that you're standing, do it again. Do a nose breath, and you can watch my expansion when I send my breath into my back body. See all of that? Okay? And when you do that, your intercostal muscles release and expand. Okay? So do a few nose breaths, and when you do, all of these muscles that we just talked about engaging, they got to be soft. They got to release. Okay? None of that flexing is happening when you're breathing. When you're breathing, that is letting it go, okay? So that is 2 more concepts for today. Concept number 3, your lungs are in your back, not your belly, okay? Inhale into your back and feel the expansion of the ribs. Now make sure that the breath doesn't come above your armpits. So I can breathe into my back, but then I can keep going. Watch. So this is a good breath. Now I can keep going, but you see it gets me all up here, which we don't want. That's over breathing, okay? So if you feel the inhale coming above your armpits, it's too much, okay? So inhale into your back, and when you start to feel, stop, okay? So what it looks like, I'll put my arms out so you can see again. That's it, okay? So that's something to be aware of. So concept number 3 is lungs are in your back. Concept number 4 is the inhale is a release. The inhale is a release. So I hate the phrase, take a breath. I hate it. Why? Because it implies a grabbing, a doing. And when somebody said to me, Arden, take a breath, and I go, because I'm taking it. But did I get any expansion? Did I get any release? Like nothing. And you heard a lot of tension, and there's a lot of over control that I'm using to try to pull air into my body. But what happens if you try to pull air into your body? You end up closing the space that is needed for that air to come in, and now you don't get as much air as you otherwise could. So we do not ever say, take a breath here. I promise you, you will never hear me say that, ever. What we say here instead is, let the breath come in. The breath is a release. Here's why this works. And you guys, this is just high school science, okay? High school physics, law of equilibrium. The pressure of a gas wants to equalize on either side of a membrane if it's not the same. So if the air pressure on this side of the membrane is different than the air pressure on that side of the membrane, the pressure wants to equalize. The gas wants to equalize, and it will travel through via osmosis to equalize, okay? It's also the concept of a vacuum. When the air pressure outside the vacuum is different than the air pressure inside, when you open up the valve, all the air goes whoosh, okay? So that is what is happening physiologically in our body. It's just physics and physiology, okay? When the air pressure outside your body is different than the air pressure in your lungs, because it's time to take a breath, you do not have to help. You do not have to take the breath. You don't have to pull air into your body. All you have to do is release and open up. And because of the law of equilibrium, the air will come in because it wants to be in your body. It wants to equalize because of the law of equilibrium. So this is really important in terms of tension, because if a singer is taking a breath in that take feeling, if I go, now all of a sudden all this tension, and now I'm in a ton of tension before I've even started to sing, and that phrase is dead in the water before I've even started, because tension is the enemy of the singer because of all the reasons you learned about yesterday of how it blocks the energy and the energy of the sound, okay? So when we let the breath come in, it's peaceful, it's open. And now, not only that, but all of this that constricted, that prevented the amount of air that we otherwise would have gotten from coming in, now we've opened and released the space, and now there's plenty of room for the air to come in and fill, and you will get so much more air than you otherwise would when you were trying to help the air come in and trying to take the breath, okay? So that is so important, the idea that the inhale is a release. Just release your belly, release your ribs, release your throat, release your jaw. Just create space and the air will come in, okay? So now we're gonna put these two concepts together. What? Zoom keeps telling me that my hand is raised. Every time I go like this, Zoom is like, raise your hand. Let's put these two concepts together, okay? And that, A to B is you release on the inhale and then you engage and flex when you want to move air. So we're just going to do it like on a hiss right now, okay? So we're not even going to do it with sound yet. I'm really breaking this down for you because you guys, when you get this, it makes so much difference, okay? So you release on the inhale. Do you see how my belly released and my belly dropped because the diaphragm dropped and all the viscous of organs underneath it went like this? Okay, I'll do it again. There's my inhale. So I release to let the air come in on the inhale. Then I'm going to flex all of the muscles in my container of support on a hiss. So watch. Did you see these muscles flex? Rather than, see, that's a contract, okay? So we release, and the ribs and everything releases. And now we hiss. Now, we talked about what's supporting the diaphragm with these muscles flexing down here. But what we didn't talk about was what to do, how these ribs should coordinate once you're hissing. So you understand that they just release and expand on the inhale because you're breathing into your back. But when I go to hiss, I don't want to let my ribs collapse because if they do, right? So remember, here's your ribs, here's your diaphragm, okay? Diaphragm has lowered. If the ribs come in, they push the diaphragm up. And now you've pushed all the air out and you don't have support anymore, okay? So we want to keep the ribs buoyant, and a good kind of way that you can imagine that is if you can imagine, like ladies, imagine you have like a strapless bathing suit or a strapless bra that's hooked like one size too big. Or guys, it's like if you have a belt around your rib cage and it's like buckled like one size too big and there's a little room. So you're going to breathe in and you're going to expand and fill out the bra or the belt. And now, look, I'm talking to you, but my ribs haven't collapsed. I'm not letting the bathing suit fall down. I'm flexing through all of this so that the bathing suit doesn't fall down. Did you see how this is like rock solid here, okay? So that's the same thing that would happen when I hiss. So watch, I'm going to release and then I'm going to engage and flex through my entire container of support. What you don't see is we don't see that collapse, okay? So this is like basic fundamental of release, then flex. Because when you flex in all capacities, you're keeping the diaphragm low and moving slow so that we just move the exact right volume and velocity of air that we need to sing. It does not take a lot of air to sing. Most of you end up moving way more air than you need to. And it sabotages the sound, sabotages your consistency, makes you feel not so confident. Then you stop going after the things that you want to in your career, and now you're stuck watching somebody else on that stage instead of you. That's how the dominoes fall, okay? So let's put this together now, okay? And we're going to talk about the combination of all of this is what we call appoggio in the Italian classical bel canto school of singing, okay? What appoggio means in Italian is it means to lean. Same thing like if those of you speak Spanish, apoyar, to lean, okay? So that idea of breathing in and expanding and then using the muscles of support in the container to lean into this container, just like you're filling out that strapless bra so it doesn't fall down to your knees, right? that is what creates this consistency, and we want to gently lean through and flex through over the duration of the entire phrase. So I want you guys to stand up, and I want you to wrap one arm around your lat. So really try to get around your back as you can, okay? I don't want you in front here. So ladies, like get under your boob, hand right on your lat, okay? And relax your shoulders, make sure you're not up here. Relax your shoulders. And then the other hand on your oblique, okay? And I want you to breathe in and feel the release of the belly and the expansion of the ribs in the back body as you inhale. And then I want you to hiss on a 4-beat hiss, like flexing in and leaning in to the entire 3-dimensional feeling of your container. And you connect your brain and monitor. Are you pushing in here, or are you flexing into your hand? Are you collapsing in the ribs, or are you staying nice and buoyant and flexing into your hand? So try. Let it go, and then do another one. And so I'm going to move my hands so you can see what I'm doing, but I want you to pay attention to what you feel under your hands. Do you feel yourself collapsing? If you do, when you inhale, expand and imagine that you're moving through this hand. And if you feel this contracting and pushing in, instead with your hand here, give yourself the direction to hiss down and out through that hand with these muscles. Try it again. You guys, it's not the amount of flex or force that matters. It's the consistency that matters, okay? So I want you to work on hissing over tonight, in the next few days, to really condition that apoyo, that lean, okay? It's the consistency that matters. Don't give it all away at the beginning, meaning don't max out your flex at the beginning and then you have nowhere to go through the rest of the phrase, okay? Also, understanding that the off is just as important as the on. So, for example, like the off meaning when you're done with your hiss, you have to release your support when you inhale. So if I'm engaged on my hiss, I have to, now I'm talking to you and I'm still flexing. I haven't let this go. But if I'm going to breathe, I have to let this go. Because if you don't, you're going to be all up in your shoulders when you breathe. So if you watch, like if I continue to support this and try to breathe, I mean, you should try it. Engage your support. So breathe. Engage your support. Now try to breathe. Like you can't. Okay, so that's concept number 6, which is that you have to release your lean. You have to release your flex when you inhale. Okay, so a couple of pitfalls to watch out for as you're practicing this coordination. The focus of the support is not the middle of your belly. Like I said, it's not about pushing out your belly. It's about flexing these lower muscles. So concentrate on what's happening around the center. Don't concentrate on the center, okay? Don't go too far pushing out your ribs, because what will happen if you go for that max, like it becomes like, and that doesn't feel good, okay? Again, it's about the gradual consistency, not the force, okay? Also be careful as you're monitoring, as you're hissing, be careful of your ribs not collapsing or pushing in immediately, okay? So that looks like this. That's like an immediate collapse, okay? As you move through the phrase, if you're once you're about 70% of the way through your air, the ribs will eventually start to fold in a little bit, okay? But we want to delay that for as long as possible, because as the ribs come in, if they come in prematurely, they're gonna push air out. Versus if you've been resisting and resisting, when they do come in a little bit, they will, only because the lungs that are underneath them have shrunk because you're moving air, okay? Rather than them pushing air out. You get the difference, okay? So just be careful of your ribs collapsing or pushing in immediately. Now, from the hiss, we're gonna put some vibration on it. Okay. And yeah, Alexa, I said, once you're about 70-ish% of the way, I mean, you can watch me. Like if I'm going to sing a long phrase, I will stay wide pretty long, but I will not be quite as wide by the end of the phrase. So if I'm going to do like whatever, So you saw I had more to go once I breathed, right? Like by the end I was, but what you didn't see was this. That's what we're trying to avoid, okay? By leaning, flexing through the container, all right? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some vibration on it, okay? We're gonna do some lip trills. You guys know lip trills, propeller lips, right? But this brings me to concept number 7, which is probably the most important thing that I was never taught. And once I knew it, I was like, why has nobody never taught me this? And it is this: support before you phonate. This is game changing. Support before you phonate. So watch my support mechanism, my container here, and you will see these muscles of support fire and flex before you hear the sound. These are gonna go like an 8th note before. Watch. Ah. Do you see how these flex like a split second before? Okay, and here's why this is absolutely essential. Because if you do not support before you phonate, now you're playing catch up, which means that you've started to sing, but you're not supported, and other parts of your body are now going to try to compensate for that lack of support, namely throat, tongue, jaw. So number 1, it gets you into tension right away because now you haven't started your sound from the gas pedal. This is your gas pedal. This has to go first. So now you're going to start from here. E, you know, all this stuff that starts going on. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you don't support before you phonate, now you've started to sing and your brain goes, oh shit, pardon me, hope there are no youngsters watching. And your brain goes, uh-oh, and now you kick it because you're late. But most of the time when you kick it, you're kicking this way instead of the flex. Okay, so now you've sabotaged your diaphragm from the very beginning. Okay, so support before you phonate. So everybody, we're just going to do a single hiss and then a single note lip trill back to back, which is going to be s, brr, and you can lip trill on any pitch you want, doesn't matter to me, okay? Hiss, then lip trill, practicing support before you phonate. Get the coordination on the hiss first. So support just a split second before the hiss. S, s. Do you see it? It's breathe, support, hiss. Breathe, support, hiss. Try it. Get the hiss first. S, s. Then you're going to do the lip trill, but do not change how you're using your body between the hiss and the lip trill. So you'll do them back to back. S, brr, s, brr. So you guys notice how I'm using my body is exactly the same between the hiss and the lip trill. Okay? So, sorry, I need to drink a tea. 1 second. Okay. So you're gonna do these back to back tonight. You're gonna practice this back to back. And you guys will have the replay so you can go back and play it and, you know, slow it down and pause it where you need to, right? Then we're gonna do moving pitch on the lip trill, okay? So we're gonna do a 1-5-1 lip trill, which sounds like this. So I'm just sliding from 1 to 5 and then back to 1, okay? And we wanna bring back a reminder of apoyo, okay? So you're going to lean into to start the sound, then you're gonna, so you lean first, then you start your lip trill, and then you're gonna continue to lean through, even though you're changing pitch, you are not gonna change this support. So here's what tends to happen to singers who don't know this. Now you do, but what tends to happen is this. Do you see how I'm like, every time I change pitch, I'm like on and off my support, right? I'm changing pitch when I change support. But guess what? That's not supportive, right? Like things that support things are stable and consistent and steady. The legs of a table support the table. They're stable, they're there, they're not changing, right? If you're doing, that's like the legs of the table going like this, okay? So the key here is to get that your support is independent of the pitch, okay? The support is like the current. Like if you're like thinking of like a river or something, or a wave, right? That is steady as can be, right? That is your support. If you're surfing, you could be doing flip-flops on your board, and if you have a steady wave, you're gonna make it to shore. If you have a jerky wave, that jerky wave is gonna jerk you off your board, and that's why a lot of you have trouble when you're going to high notes. It's why a lot of you have trouble making it to the end of the phrase, because in between this pitch and this pitch, your support goes away, and now we get a flood of air, and now you're leaking. If you listen to me, when I change support, when I change pitch, you will hear a flood of air. Do you hear that? Right? That's because my support wasn't there, but I was still phonating to try to move pitch, okay? So do not change support when you change pitch. That is concept number 8 for today. Do not change your support when you change pitch. It is the consistency that matters, okay? Create that stable wave. So stand up, put hands on, move into your hands, creating that gentle, consistent, expanding flex that's gonna move you through the phrase, and you start that before you phonate, okay? So let's do 1, 5, 1. And then you release on the inhale for the next one, okay? Support before you phonate. Do it again. Then release. Then we go up to the next key. Okay, and so that is how you start to condition consistency in support just on a lip trill. And here's why I love lip trills for teaching support. Because your vocal cord, your lips in vibrating approximate the vibration of your vocal cords, okay? And so if there is an interruption to what should be a steady stream and a focused stream, your lips will tell you right away. Or if you're flooding with too much air, your lips won't vibrate at all. Watch, if I collapse and I flood, I can't maintain a lip trill. Too much air, too much flood, okay? So your lips are telling you exactly what's going on with your steady stream, and whether you're supporting to create it or whether you're sabotaging and sabotaging it, okay? So I do lip trills. We do lip trills with every single singer who comes into our intensive training program, doesn't matter how advanced they are. Singers who have been with me for years, we always start with lip trills. When I am in my own practice, every day when I'm practicing, I am starting with lip trills, because it practices what you're doing is you're practicing support when you're practicing lip trills, okay? So a few little just pitfalls. When you're thinking about your lip trills, don't focus on your lips. It's not about your lips at all. What's making your lips vibrate is all about what you're doing and what's happening in your container. So don't focus on your lips, because if you do, you're going to be trying to create it with your lips. And that's not where the lip trill is created. Again, this is your gas pedal. When you use this in the right flex and you continue to gently, consistently move through it, you're sending the exact right velocity and volume of air that creates the exact right subglottal pressure that then vibrates your vocal cords and your lips in the exact efficient way that we need for a beautiful sound. So focus on what's happening here, not here. Another thing that can also be helpful is a lot of people think of lip trills as an explosion, and so they think that it's like a P, like a P. Don't think P, okay? If anything, just to get yourself going, you can think B, 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 b. But again, the B is not up here. I want you to visualize little bees floating around down here. You got to tap one of these bees so it bubbles up and comes out. Okay? Okay, so I know I'm giving you a ton of information and we're going to coach on this, I promise. But I really want to like give you all the information first and then we'll see how it's working. So you get the consistency. Let's say you got the hiss, you understand support before you phonate, you're not collapsing, you're creating that consistency on the lip trill. Now we're gonna add syllables. But do not change how you're using your body, okay? This is the thing, you guys. This is where most high-level singers get tripped up. Your mind is gonna wanna convince your body, oh, we're on syllables now. Now we're singing. Now we gotta make it sound good, okay? And then all of the things that you discovered in your thought exercise and all the ways that you don't wanna fail are gonna come rushing back in because now we're on syllables. Now we're singing. And all of the habits of make, force, do, manipulate, control that have sabotaged the consistency of your breath support in the past are going to try to come rushing back. And so we are not singing right now. I am not asking you to sing. No singing allowed here. We are just vibrating on pitch, okay? So we're gonna vibrate on some ma-mo-moo syllables, and it's just gonna be a really simple 5-note scale, ma-mo-moo, really simple. No singing allowed, just vibrating on pitch, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get present in the moment of your body, right? Don't just hop in, don't be on autopilot. Come back to the present moment of your body, notice and direct yourself to use your body in the exact same way that you did on the lip trills and on the hiss. And we're gonna use that progression to set up how to use your body on the ma-mo-moo. So first, you're gonna practice the lean of the appoggio consistency on a hiss. Then you're gonna practice the lean of the appoggio on a lip trill. Then you're gonna practice the lean of the appoggio on the ma-mo-moo, and you are not gonna change how you're using your body. Ma-mo-moo. Because if you feel how consistent this is, on a hiss, now you're changing pitch on a lip trill and you're finding the consistency, that doesn't change. Ma-mo-moo. Your body might want to do this. Ma-mo, right? And start to like try to create the articulation and support every single note, okay? Don't do it. I want you to think like it's a single bow if you were a string player, like a violin player. That ma-mo-moo, same as the lip trill, a single bow of support. Not, it's not 3 bows, and it's certainly not ma-mo-moo. Like don't bow on every, you know what I'm saying? Don't change the support. Single send, single bow, okay? Then that lean, you guys, that flex, it's gentle and it's consistent. Again, it's not the force that matters, it's the consistency of moving through that flex through the course of the phrase. So don't forget to release the lean when you breathe, and then staying in the present moment of the awareness of witnessing your body with hands on as you're doing it, and asking yourself, following your body through the phrase, where do I lose my lean? And with your present moment awareness, you will notice your hands are beyond you. You'll notice if you're collapsing in your ribs or you're pushing in your tummy, okay? Okay, so with all of that information, let's see how this is gonna live in your body and how you're gonna put this into play in your body. So who would like to be a guinea pig to put these tools into play in one of their songs? Could be just a verse of something or a chorus of something. So I need to switch screens so I can see you guys. You can use the raised hand function. Okay, Leanne was the first hand that I saw. So Leanne, come on camera. All right. So let's what do I want to do first? Let's just do like a verse of something. Do you have like a chorus or a verse of something that you sing pretty often?
Dough to make my brown eyes blue.
Okay, so go ahead and stand up. Cool. Now, the device is obviously lower than you. Are you able to raise it up?
No, it's on a table in front of me.
Okay, so take a few steps back so
Wait,
that
hold
you're.
on. Hold on. That's
No,
worse.
it's not the screen. It was like it was so you didn't have to look down at the device.
Okay.
And if you had some books you could put it on or something.
I'm in a
Um,
library, but no, I'm in a private room.
no worries. No worries. Okay. Can you take a step back or two? Okay. So let's do just a verse or a course, just a short little excerpt, and let's see what happens. Okay.
So you just want me to hold or not?
So right now, with whatever information you feel like you've gathered, let's just sing it, and I'm going to help you to really identify how we can put this into the song. Okay.
Okay. Don't know when I've been so blue.
Okay, good. So even in that first phrase, every time the pitch goes up, Leanne wants to add air. Don't know when to make my I don't know if you feel it. I'm exaggerating it. It's not that bad. Okay. But so let's go back and I
Okay.
want you to put hands on just like you were. So one around your lat, one on your oblique, and relax your shoulders as much as you can. There you go. Okay. So can you just do a single hiss for me, just a couple beats, and you're going to breathe into your back, and then you're going to engage your flex, and then you're going to hiss. Okay, let's do it one more time. And I want you to really find your back body breath in the way it felt like when you were ragdolled over. Can you try that?
I am breathing back out. My teacher taught me this to fill up like a balloon. I have a huge rib cage because of this, but my back is going out.
Okay, cool. So
And
I
she used to put me against the wall so that you would push yourself forward
okay.
to make
So
sure you got into your back.
okay. So do you guys notice the energy of a lot of the words that Leanne's teacher was giving her before? Push, uh, I forget they said it, but like a balloon, like and it's all very
You're filling a balloon.
right. It's all very like pushing and very versus what do we know about the inhale? It's a release. It's just a release. So
I think the
I'm
concept was so that you filled out, you didn't just
oh
fill
no, the
forward
concept
and
is right.
around. Yeah.
Yes, the concept of is right in the three-dimensional, of course, for sure. But you guys, energy matters. Okay? And so the idea of releasing into the expansion, yes, I just saw you do it. That's different than pushing yourself to force yourself to blow up a balloon. It's different.
Hmm.
Different. Okay? Okay. So we're going to release into that expansion like you just felt. And then, yes, you did it again. That was really good. Do you feel the difference in like what does it feel like to you? How does it feel different? Can you describe it?
It doesn't feel as forced.
Yes.
It just feels like it's going in there and then pressing down for
When
the
you when
next.
you
Yeah.
phonate. Right, exactly. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
So, we're going to release into the breath and then I want you to just lean into the muscles of support and into the ribs as you hiss. And let's do like four beats or so hiss.
Of hissing? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Did you exhale before you hissed?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I saw you beautifully expand and then I saw you contract before you hissed.
That was me pressing down, flexing.
Okay, then it's if I can visibly see that, it's too much, too far, too much.
Okay.
Overdo. Okay, so like when you if I let me put my screen up a little bit. Like when you see my physiology, so
Mhm.
I am able to stay buoyant, but in that split second between inhale and engage. So like I don't need to see that's a push down.
Okay.
That is as opposed to flex. Flex is different than push. And I think you're pushing, which we don't want. Okay? So flex is engage gently outward and down. let's see if you can try that in your own body. Release. Yeah, right. Do you feel how it's not as much work?
You're
Okay.
right. It's less work.
Yeah, and more efficient because when you push, you actually move too much air, which you don't need to do. Okay. So now use your body on the lip trill. Same way.
Okay, so I am the only one that can never do a lip trill. And I hate to be negative, but I just can't do them.
Okay, so those of you who are in here who know me and who have maybe been through this with me before, how many people have said that to me? And then, especially those who go through the intensive training program. I have one right now who just started and like, I can't do a lip trill, Arden. I've never been able to do it. And in like 3 weeks, she was doing a lip trill. Okay. So like, I know you think that, and sometimes there's just a piece that just never hooked in, and then we're going to figure out what it is. Okay. So what happens? Let me see you do a lip trill. What happens when you do a lip trill? Okay. Are you making sound?
I can do a tongue trill. I
Okay,
can't
hold on.
do it with
I
my
think
lips.
I think you need to turn your original sound on. So I know we talked about this yesterday. Look at your Zoom window and
Yeah,
and where it says next to where it says recording, where it says original sound for musicians, it says off, put it to on.
I'd have it on. I already
Okay.
have it. I did that. I did that before I got into the thing.
Okay. So can you do a head voice lip trill?
Can't do a lip trill, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but what's here? No, this is textbook. You're not alone. You're not alone in this. What's happening, and when you watch the recording back, I want you to rewind and I want you to watch what you just did. And I want you to watch your neck and your jaw
okay.
because your body is not creating the lip trill down here at all. It's focused on, it's all up here. Okay. Right now, this is the block, and the air cannot pass through it with the right velocity and volume to vibrate the lips because it's being blocked. Okay. So let's come back down here. Okay. And I want you to imagine a bunch of tiny little lip trills floating around in the basin of your, your support rib cage or pelvis down here. Okay. And I want you to visualize tapping one of those lip trills into your hand. Just put it in here. Okay, I'm watching your body. I'm watching your body. So don't worry, I'm not torturing you, making you do it over and over again. I'm just watching your body as you do it, okay? Let's do it one more time. And can you put your hand here? Okay? And what happens when you hiss into your palm? Do you feel some muscles gently go into your palm?
I do.
When you do a hiss like a snake? Uh-huh. What if I said to you, more gentle resistance instead of like don't force air to come out. Just gentle resistance. Uh-huh. Right. Do you feel how to start the hiss, things go like this, gently. Do you feel that? And
I
you
do.
still okay. And you're kind of just sitting into it instead of whacking it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I want you to do a hiss like that and then approach the idea of a lip trill just like that. But back to back. Hiss, set the sensation, then create it again for the lip trill. But everything collapsed before you did. So you guys, she's not uh, engaging before the lip trill. You're still trying to create it up here, and then you're trying to push this in. When you rewind, you'll see it. This is trying to do it first, and then this is trying to play catch up, and it collapses. Okay, the lip trill lives here, Leanne. The lip trill lives here. Put it in the place of the hiss. Yeah. Oh, did you see you got some? But now you're getting the right start, okay? But now you gotta keep flexing through the way you keep flexing through on the hiss. Don't stop. No. There's a collapse that's happening in between when you inhale and when you go to phonate. So I'm going to exaggerate, but this is what I see.
That's
Like,
me pressing down.
okay, but it's not what that isn't happening in the hiss. You've found the coordination in the hiss to I don't want you to think press down, Leanne, because
Mhm.
it's collapsing you. It's
Okay.
collapsing you too much. I want you to gently think, flex out three-dimensionally into this container. So on the bottom of pelvic floor, on the sides, you're doing it on the hiss. Find it on the hiss again and see if you can describe it to me. Yes. Yeah. Okay. What does that feel like to you? Is there a sensation, an image?
It just feels like I'm keeping my ribs out, but it's going deep. It's just
Yes.
pushing away.
Right, right. And that resistance that you're creating with these muscles is keeping the diaphragm stable so that it doesn't push up and flood. The reason the lips are not vibrating the way you want is because the other way is causing this flood. It's too much, okay? So I right now don't even want you to worry about the lip trill. I just want you to like condition this coordination in this hiss that's so much more, like you were saying, gentle, expanding down and out without the, yeah. So now take this idea and let's go back to the phrase that you were singing in
Okay.
in the song, okay? And I just want you to chant the lyrics. So what was the song? I lost it. What were we
Don't
singing?
make my brown eyes blue.
Right, right, right. Okay. So what's the line? The first line, just tell me.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
So I just want you to chant on this feeling of hiss, okay? Don't know when, da 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 da. I don't know the words, but use your
Okay.
body like you did on the hiss, but just chant, okay?
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Let's do it one more time. And there's a moment that I see where you're hunkering down. There, do you feel a hunker? Do you feel a
I
hunker?
do. I
Yeah,
do.
we don't
Just
want
sitting on
that's
it, like you're
I
sitting
know.
on it.
I know. That's the old habit. That's the old habit. It's not a hunkering down because when you do that, you might be feeling these engaged, but everything else is going like this, and it's not helping your diaphragm to support you. Okay.
Okay.
So can we do it with long vowels?
Don't
Don't
know
know when.
when I've been so blue.
Good. Do it again. Find that release on the inhale and do it at a slightly higher pitch center.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. Now, can we be super gooey with it? So instead of hearing word, 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 because
Mhm.
it's hard to have a single bow if we're doing word, word. Okay, so think of it as like all gooey connected. Don't know when my. Okay, you tried?
Okay.
That was much better up here. I didn't see you hunker down.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Yes, you started to really feel the
Towards
consistent
the end of
nature.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, towards the end, right? So do it one more time, like gooey long vowels, like it's all one thing.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Okay, now we're gonna go on pitches, but
Okay.
I don't want you, don't show me your beautiful voice, no singing aloud. We're just vibrating on the melody into this feeling of consistency that you created when you chanted just now. Now we're chanting on the melody.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Okay, let's get back to right. Her brain is misfiring because her brain is like, wait a second, how do I sing but not sing? Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, example being instead, like if I was gonna do like Amazing Grace, right? Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. I'm just I'm just chanting, sirening through my support. I'm not worrying about making it pretty or making it genre or interesting or whatever, okay? It might feel a little square to you right now. That's fine. I just want, so what's your starting pitch? I can give it to you. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay, so whatever, just pick your key.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. So now I want you to find the rhythm because it's a little different. The rhythm is a little more dotted than what you were doing, but you can
Yeah.
still have the normal rhythm and like find the consistency, okay? You're doing great.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. Okay. So the reason why I really wanted her to do the dotted rhythm it's written is because you're doing a better job of supporting the longer note values. But when you have the shorter note value, the eighth at the end of the dot, don't know when I feel, you pull off. So we've got don't know when I feel it. It's move through those. This doesn't change. No matter rhythm changes, pitch changes. Don't know when I feel so blue. Try it. Whoa, 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 whoa. What did that? You right? But that's the habit. That's the habit. And you guys, you all have them. You all have them. And this is a process of just identifying the habit and learning to inhibit it so that you come into, like, you guys, it's a life breath. A life breath. That's, believe it or not, that back body, that feeling of breath, that's how we are built to breathe. And that's how we mostly breathe all day, every day. We're just not present to it. And then we go into singing and we think we need to do, and oh my God, Leanne, if you breathe like that all day, every day, you pass out. You would completely, but why do we think that we should do this when we sing? Because we don't trust that our body was built to do this. Your body knows how to breathe, Leanne. Release and let the air come in. That's what you do all day, every day. Life breath into your back.
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. You're getting much more focused tone now. The first time you did it, if you were going to go A, B after and listen to the recording of the 1st time you did it, it was much airier. You're getting more focused sound now. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. I want you to slurp and slide through these notes like egregiously slurpy. Like, don't worry, I'm not going to make you sing slurpy forever. But for right now, like, don't know when I feel new. Okay, like you're taking a piece of toffee and you're going like this.
But not with the pitch. But not with the pitch.
No, I want you to slide through
Slide into the pitch.
Slide through the pitch changes. So from here to here to here, like if you're going no when I feel, I want to hear all the semitones, okay?
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Okay, good. We're gonna do okay, I want you to, you're gonna do it here, and you're gonna do the ma, we're gonna do a triad. Ma, mo, moo. And I want you to slide, I want to hear every little tone in between. Ma, mo. And in order to do that, in order to slide like that, you need to slide into your flex. That's what's going to create the entirety of that consistent slide over the phrase. Try it. Okay, that was mostly, I mean, you're getting used to it, but mostly consistent support as you changed pitch. Because if you guys, if she has to phonate in between here and here, if she has to phonate between there, she's got to support. She literally wouldn't be able to create that slide if she wasn't doing this, okay? So Leanne, do it again. Do it a half step down. Ma,
Mama.
Oh, down, 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 down. That went ma, and then things came this way, which got you stuck.
Right.
Keep moving through. Mama.
Mama.
Okay, so this connection, because what was happening before
Mhm.
is you're supporting this pitch and you're supporting this pitch, but I lose you in between.
Okay.
Okay, and in that moment, air floods in and we get an H. Ma, ma. That when you guys, if you have H's, it's because you're pulling off and you're changing your support when you change pitch. So let's go back to the brown-eyed blue. And can you slur between the pitches as a means of teaching your body how to change pitch without changing support?
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. Don't be afraid to use your consonants. You can use consonants. We're talking about what happens between the consonants. Okay?
Okay.
Don't know when. Scoopy, goopy, droopy. Okay?
Don't know when I've been so blue.
Good. Next phrase. Same feeling.
Don't know what's come over you.
Good. Keep going. You got it.
You found somebody new.
Ah, what happened on new? Did you feel this go in? I could see it. Do it again. Do it again. Because what happened is you were moving through your flex, but you moved through too quickly and you got to the max of your flex before the end of the phrase and you needed it for that end rise in pitch and there's no other way to go but in. Okay? So gradually, consistently, do that phrase again. You got it.
I don't even know what phrase I'm on. Nope. So I don't know what's coming. Don't know what's come over you.
Yes, Leanne. Yes. That's so much more of a present, consistent, embodied sound than what was happening before. What does that feel like to you? What do you notice? There's shape and image, a sensation.
I feel like I'm singing drunk. That's what I feel
But okay, but that's actually a really interesting analogy because my guess is based on what we've discovered over the last 10 minutes, all the overdoing and all of the over pushing and all of the micromanaging every pitch and changing and doing support for every pitch, all of that, you were over controlling. And so now you're not, and you're just doing one consistent thing. And yeah, I'm asking you to slur, which maybe makes you feel like you're drunk, but like your body is doing a lot less of over controlling, which when we're drunk, we don't do that. We're kind of just like, you know what I'm saying? So I get that. And that's good here. You guys, most of you work way too hard. You're all, don't know when, da, da, da. You're doing like so much, you guys. And you don't realize that like it's the consistency, not the amount. It's the depth, not the force. That just staying in that, you guys, that's like now, Leanne, you have so much more. I hear rounded tone now. Whereas before it was like kind of thin and it was kind of in and out because so was the air. It was either too much force or then you were off it. It wasn't one gradual consistency. Okay. So stay with this. You guys give Leanne a big round of applause for being
Thank you guys. Sorry I took up so
amazing.
much time.
There is no problem. How many of you learned something watching Leanne? Tell her in the chat. because she's feeling guilty that I coached her for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay. You guys, this is how it works. They learned probably as much, if not more, watching you than you did being the one coach.
And when
Okay.
I watch it back, I'll learn more
You will.
because I'll be able to see what I was doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for being a great volunteer
Thank
for
you for
today.
taking me on, and I'm going to try those
You
drills.
will. And you guys, this takes, it takes conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't be hard on yourself. Like, how long have you been singing the old way? For 30 years more, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take a minute to understand the new sensation, get the new coordination, and then condition it. Okay. But that reminds me that your job, guys, is to recreate the feeling of the good sound, not the sound of the good sound. So what I mean by that is like
Oh,
what you
that's good.
hear in your head is not what we hear out here. You know that. You've heard yourself on an answering machine or recording and you're like, oh my God, is that me? Right? Because what it sounds like in your head is never what it sounds like to us out here. And most singers, when you're so busy listening to yourself, get into this pattern of listening, judging, manipulating to try to make it sound amazing in your head, but that gets into all these manipulations that are sabotaging the coordination of your body that would actually make it sound great out here to us, okay? So you'll notice that when I was coaching Leanne, not once did I ask her, what did that sound like to you? Not once. I asked her, what did that feel like to you? Is there a sensation in your body? Is there an image? Is there a feeling? Okay. I said, when you go back and you listen to this, you will hear how much more focused sound and present the sound is, right? But she needs to hear that from the outside, okay? So your job is to recreate the feeling of the good sound. So when I'm coaching, if you're a guinea pig and I say, good, yes, good, it's like, okay, what did that feel like in my body? How am I going to recreate that? It's like, it's like the sweet spot on the tennis racket. For those of you who play tennis, like that sweet spot on the racket, when the ball hits, you don't feel it. There's like no impact. That's the sweet spot in it. And it's going to be a great shot because you know what it feels like. You don't have to look across the net. It's going to be good. This is the same thing because not only can you not trust the way it sounds in your head, but also half the time, like the monitors aren't working good if you're in a club and you can't hear yourself. You don't need to hear yourself. You need to learn the feeling of the good technique, the feeling of the good sound. So even if I can't hear myself, as long as I can hear the accompaniment, as long as I can hear my pianist or the orchestra or the band or whatever, I know the sweet spot. I know where what that feels like in my body. And I know when I feel that, I know it sounds good out there, okay? So for homework today, you can find tonight's homework the MP3s. We're giving you MP3s to do the lip trills and the mamo moos for you to practice with, and you can find them in your Masterclass workbook under day 2. So what I recommend is working with the hissing first and do that progression. Hiss, then single note lip trill, then 1-5-1 lip trill, and then mamo moo. And once you feel like you have that coordination, then you can do a whole bunch of lip trills using the MP3, taking you up the scale, and the mamo moos that we were doing. So you can find those MP3s to practice with in the Masterclass workbook. This is another thing that's really important. That you practice doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. How you practice does. Practice the how, not the what. Do you get that? So if you just blaze through ma, mo, moo, and you're not being present to the intention that you're giving yourself, like Leanne's intention, right, is going to be that feeling of that gentle consistency that she was feeling. So if she's not putting that quarter in that gets her that gumball, the quarter being the intention, right? The quarter being, oh my gosh, am I taking a breath? Well, wait a second, that's my habit is to overdo, right? Okay, so the quarter I'm putting in, the intention I'm setting is release into the breath. Now she's practicing the thing that's getting her the outcome in her body that she wants. Practice the how, not the what. Okay? Also, Like I said, don't listen to yourself. Feel yourself, okay? Start to get to know the feeling of the coordination. And so tomorrow, we're gonna build on this. Right now, you've got half the equation. So think of the stability that enables maximum impact. Think of it like a boat. So you've got your anchor now, all of this. This is all your anchor that's creating stability, but you need your sail. So tomorrow, I'm going to give you the other half of the equation and give you what I consider to be the rocket fuel that brings really consistent high-level performance impact and get it out of your technique. And this is what I call energetic sound direction. So this is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. This is the rocket fuel for consistency. This is the ammunition that taps you into the maximum potential of your sound and start bridging that gap between the exceptional talent that you have and the success that you want. Okay, so you've got a much better understanding now with these tools for rock solid support. Go practice it tonight, but it's not enough. We're talking about breaking through to the elite. Okay, so you need the rest. So don't miss tomorrow. If you had questions today that were not answered, you can either post them in the Facebook group or jot them down, and we have a whole Q&A day on Sunday where we can get into whatever your specific questions are about stuff that you're experiencing or want to know about. So either put it in the Facebook group and I'll answer it today or tomorrow, or if you want me to check in on something you're doing, also can come to the Q&A day on Sunday as well. All right, you guys, have an amazing rest of your afternoon, celebrating you for all of your accountability and commitment to being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, guys, bye.